Hello everyone, and welcome back to another GeoStats tutorial video. And in this tutorial video, I want to talk about implementing a very basic version of Kriging using the gstat package and the SP package. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to copy, as I have with every other example video, the required packages and the data set that we're using. So again, this is that Fulmer data set from the gstat package. And then this line of code right here is just making it from the data frame that it came as into a spatial points data frame. So let's go ahead and just run all this code really quick. Okay, so again, we have our X and Y coordinates, which are being used here. And then this Fulmer, this is the variable that we're going to do our Kriging on, this Fulmer variable right here. So what we're going to do is first we need to set up our variogram. So rather than going through all of that again, I'm just going to copy our code from our previous video. So if this doesn't make sense to you, I encourage you to go back and watch that video. So first we're going to generate the empirical variogram, and then we're going to use that empirical variogram to fit an estimated variogram. So I'm going to just call these two lines of code here. I'm going to run these. Okay, so now we have a fitted estimated variogram that we're going to feed into the Kriging model of interpolation. So again, we're going to be using the Krieg function from gstat. So if we call the gstat package, and we call Krieg. Okay, so what Krieg takes in is a formula, a locations, a new data, and a model. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep track of what we need here. So I'm going to call this Krieg equals, we're calling gstat Krieg function. And again, it takes a formula, a locations, a new data, and a model. So let's talk about each one of these are. The formula, this is the same thing that we've seen in the previous IDW video. This is just what variable are we running the Kriging on. So in this case, it's going to be Fulmer because that is the name. Actually, I think let's run the head really quick just to show you here. Just to recap here, right? This Fulmer column from the data frame, right? This is the variable that we want to Krieg on. So we're calling it directly here with Fulmer, and then we're going to use a tilde, and then we're going to use the number 1. So this is saying run the Kriging based on Fulmer. Locations, this is the spatial data frame. So this is going to be our f_pdf. And this is saying this data has both the location attribute as well as the Fulmer column. Next, we have new data. So this is that data that we want to estimate, which we actually need to create. I'm going to go back up here to the IDW video, and I'm going to grab our sample. Okay. So this is making use of the SP sample function from the SP package. If this line of code doesn't make sense, I encourage you to go back and watch the IDW video where we covered what SP sample does. But again, this is basically generating 1,000 random points. So if we run that, okay. So new data, this is going to be the places that we want to interpolate. So these are our unknown locations. So this is going to be our sample here. Now model, in this case, we're going to actually pass in our fitted variogram coming from fit.variogram. So this is going to be fit_var. Okay, so just to recap, we're passing in the column that we want to Krieg, the data frame with locations, the unknowns where we want to actually estimate, and then the variogram that we're going to use inside of Kriging to perform the calculation. So if we run this, and hopefully we don't get any errors, this will take just a second. Okay, so what is Krieg? Well, Krieg is again a formal class of spatial points data frame. So this is actually doing the same thing that IDW did. It's giving us back the new data with the estimate. So if we do just really quickly look at the Krieg structure, look at the data. So Kriging does two things. One, it gives us the var1.pred. So this is going to be the Kriging interpolation. So these are the values that it's actually interpolating. var1.variance, this is a measure of the error. So this is how accurate it thinks that the results are. So higher numbers tends to mean you are less confident than in your prediction. So now that we kind of know that, again, just like with IDW, it's changed the name on us, we can go ahead and we can map the results. TM shape equals, and then we're going to pass in our Krieg variable. And then we're going to plot TM dots. And then we're going to have the color driven by, again, this var1.pred. And we're going to run that. Did I misspell pred? I might have misspelled pred. var1.pred Krieg TM dots. Oops, I forgot the quotes. That would be why that crashed. Oop, not double quotes. There we go. Let's try that. There we go. Now if we call tmap and we run that, we'll see that we now have our predictions coming out of Kriging. So hopefully that made sense. And as always, please reach out. Thank you.